All right. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honor to the elders and our apostles, the great millstone, Thomas Truth. Salutations to the hopeful elect that's around the four corners of the earth. And also the brothers that teach this word in sincerity. I'm the brother Iowa Lumia from the GMS Chicago branch here in Chicago. Coming back at you with another lesson. I'm just basically entitled this lesson, Esau's hatred. Because as we move, closer and closer to the end, E is, further is going to show his hatred, towards you tribes, you know, Revelations 12 and 12 being one of them when he come down with that great wrath. But on a, every day E is showing this hatred. So I had this video, already queued up, and it's entitled, it says, Edomite teacher goes on a racist tirade towards his black students. So I'm gonna play this minute, a minute and 1 second clip, and I'm gonna jump into some precepts.
You in the office. You'll wait for me there after the second bell so I can dismiss the rest of the class. Does anyone else want to try my authority? Because I am fucking done playing with you idiots. I am here because I want to be here. I somewhat enjoy this job. You need something from me. I need nothing from you. You can go through life and live on the fucking system, draw your paycheck on the 1st and the 15th from my taxes, and live just an absolute horrible life. I don't care. You can be another statistic. I don't care. That's on you. And if you think it's funny, I can take you down to the county office and we'll pull the fucking numbers. And if you don't like my language, I don't give a shit. Because you've said worse. And if you get Samaya, you leave too. Get out now. Get your shit. Get out.
I'm not.
Get out now. I didn't fucking ask.
Who the fuck is that?
Yeah, so that's Esau's hatred in a nutshell. That perpetual hatred that's the scriptures goes into. So let's get some precepts, because this is Eve's true nature. Going all the way back to Cain. All the way back to Esau. This is Esau's true nature. So this is the book of Ezekiel 35 and 5. It says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, and the time that their iniquity had an end. Right? E has a perpetual hatred. Let's go into that word perpetual hatred. I got it queued up on Google and also Blue Letter. So this is the word perpetual. It says never ending or changing. Right? So E has that, that never ending what? That never ending hatred, towards you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. You make up, the lost 12 tribes of Israel. And E hates you. E is our, our adversary according to the Bible. And it's very evident, living close to this man on a day-to-day basis, you will see how he treats you, treats you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. But with that being said, I'm going to go into the Blue Letter and do the same thing for the word perpetual hatred or perpetual. So let's get the pronunciation.
Strong's H5769. Olam.
Right, olam.
Olam.
The Hebrew word olam, let's see. It says from the Hebrew word olam, it says from probably concealed, the vanishing point, generally time out of mind, past or future. Let's see, practically eternity, frequentively, adverbal, or verbial, especially with propitiation prefix. Always, let's go down a little bit more. Continuous, eternal, everlasting. Right, so E has a everlasting hatred, towards you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. This is going all the way back to, to Jacob and Esau when they was fighting in the womb. But I'm actually, revisit that. Let's go back to Ezekiel 35. Salakia. Bear with me for a second, Salakia. Yeah, this is the book of Ezekiel 35 and 5. I'm going to go through it again. It says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, And right, that now for that word perpetual, it goes back to the Hebrew word olam, which means eternal, So E has that eternal hatred, towards our people. That perpetual hatred, and you can see it even to this very day. That hatred haven't went anywhere. So it says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity. Right, and they did that. Going back to the Greeks, the Romans, they did that. These Edomites, these self-proclaimed white people. Even unto this day, they're shedding our blood. And even the clip I had basically showed you. E is basically showing his horns, towards you tribes. Going back to the curses, he's calling you a proverb and a byword. He calling you what? A statistic, as that teacher went into, that Edomite teacher. It says, in the time that their iniquity had an end. For, verse 6, it says, therefore, as I live, said the Lord Yahweh, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Right, meaning what? We're going to get our payback, and they're going to go through what we went through. Times 10. Because the Bible does say, fill unto her double. Let's continue. Right, going back to the Hebrew word olam.
Strong's H 5769. Olam.
Right, that perpetual hatred.
Olam.
Now, I just basically went over it. It's an everlasting. As it went down here, it's continuous, eternal, or everlasting. Right, so E has that everlasting hatred for our people. But let's continue. This is the book of Genesis 27 and 41. It says, and Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherein his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. Right, because the story of Jacob and Esau, going back to Genesis, the 25th chapter, I believe, how they struggled together, within the womb. So they was basically fighting within inside the womb. And going into how Esau sold his birthright, into Jacob, which was all ordained by Yahweh Shem Yahushua. That from that point on, had a hatred for our people, going back to the womb, all the way up to this point right now. You can say all the way back to Cain also, but he has that eternal hatred for our people, a perpetual hatred. It says, the days of mourning for my father are at hand, then I will slay my brother Jacob. And right, he is still slaying our people to this day. How's he doing that? He basically, put our people, in a predicament. He put our people in a system. He turns our people, once against another. These are the tools that he uses, to destroy our people. The education system is one of them. The prison system. Police brutality. These are all the tools that he uses, to destroy our people. Low income neighborhoods, things like that. But let's continue. This is the book of Deuteronomy 28 and 37. It says, and thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee. Right, you got these other nations also, but mainly, these Edomites, these self-proclaimed white people, calling a lot of our people, N-words, they call the Hispanic spics, border jumpers, different things like that he uses, to put our people down. Over there in the Ukraine, you got a lot of Jakes over there. What is they doing? A lot of those Ukrainians over there right now is showing that perpetual hatred. Because at the end of the day, a lot those are Edomites over there in the Ukraine. And our people are over there too. You got the Southern Kingdom, you got some Northern Kingdom over there too. But what? You even got the so-called Ukrainians, even despite them being oppressed, by their own nation. The Russians, the Ukrainians, they're all the same people. But even in the the distress of those Ukrainians over there, they still have that perpetual hatred to call our people these different things, just to basically show you that these Edomites are devils. It's nothing changed. Nothing changed about them. Because what they have that that perpetual hatred. And I just went into that word perpetual hatred, which goes back to the Hebrew word olam, which means eternal or everlasting. But that's that's the spirit of Esau. This is the book of Psalms 55 and 21. It says, "And the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but what was in his heart? His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords." Right. Just think about the so-called Native Americans, the Gadites, the Reubenites. When you had Jake in control of this land, what would Esau do? He spit those smooth words at Gad, by the way of those treaties and different things like that. And that's how he, ultimately infiltrated, and took this land by, the smooth words that he speak. We already know that he is crafty, in a lot of things that he do, and this is what he's most advanced in. The sword. Basically getting one over people. In the grimiest ways. This is the nature of Esau Edom. You know, and everything goes back to that perpetual hatred. Going back into the Genesis 25 when Jacob and Esau was fighting in the womb. So nothing about these devils is going to change because this is how the Lord programmed them to be at the end of the day. So they're going to have that perpetual hatred, and they're going to continue hating you tribes, regardless. So I'm gonna end it off right there. Lord willing, I hope it was edifying. So I just want to end it off by giving all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. That want us to the elders and our apostles of great millstone who taught us this truth. Salutations to the hopeful elect that's around the four corners of the earth, and also the brothers that teach this word of sincerity. I would hope it was edifying, to the brothers, the sisters, and the hopeful elect that's, that may be watching this video. Lord willing, I hope it was edifying, and Lord willing, I'll come back with another lesson soon. Until next time, a ball.